Wrestling Mayhem Show. Since 2006, the pioneer in pro wrestling podcasting.
This show is brought to you by IndieWrestling.us and IndieWrestling.network for your independent wrestling entertainment. Slice on Broadway, supporting Pittsburgh podcasting with the perfect pepperoni pizza.
Just wait, just wait, just wait, just wait, just wait. Wait for the perfect time, then attack. Don't give up what you want, take it back. Wait for the perfect time, then attack. Do what you have to do, make it last.
It is the Wrestling Mayhem Show, episode 915. Tuesdays, we've been talking professionalized wrestling. I'm Mike Sorgat, Sorgatron, in the Sorgatron Media Studios in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Ready to talk tech with you. No, that's the other podcast. Ready to talk wrestling. We're assholes with you. Jeez. Off to a great start. First of all, with us from somewhere across this great fair city is the Riz.
My awesome thing of the week.
No.
is,
Wrong show.
Oh,
Wrong show. Also wrong show.
I'm sorry. I spent 3 long days watching the Pat McAfee Show.
I heard this. You were live tweeting it in the
So
Wrestling Mayhem
I
Show
don't know
Facebook
where
group.
I am right now.
Yeah, like you and Tina were like on top of this thing. And then he disappeared for legitimate reasons last night, which got weirder, right? So, but anyways, you are fresh off of playing Little Kitty Big City with Katie on Wednesday night. That was an epic 3-hour thing. I think you almost beat the game. Almost beat the game.
We were too busy getting hats. Hats for cats, of course.
Yes, exactly. So, and thank you, everybody. We put a call out to our friends in the wrestling world to send us their cats that we showed on the stream. So we had cats from Joe Murphy. We had cats from Nick's Wild, and we had cats from Zach Rain. So thank you, everybody that did contribute to the cat pile. And we'll have an announcement when we'll get Riz. We gotta get Riz and Katie together to finish the game because they're very close to this. Because it's only they said
we have not finished a game yet.
We have not finished a game.
We have played games. We have not finished games.
I mean, this would be a first. This would be a big accomplishment for you guys. So, it's a team effort for this single-player game. But we have our special guest for this week, as promised, and rescheduled, and then promised again. And then we actually sent an email blast with it, so it had to happen. Damn it, that's how we confirmed it. Rozie the Ref is with us. Rozie Jones with us. How you doing? Finally in studio.
I'm so happy to be here, Sorg.
I'm glad you could join us. Yes, it is. And of course, I know you from, God, everywhere. It seems like I'm working these days.
Yeah.
We roll into a promotion, like, oh, Rosie's here.
Yeah.
So we're going to catch up with you because you've been, really kind of getting out there very quick in your career in a lot of places. So we'll talk about that here in a bit. But let's get into talking the wrestles for the week, what's going on out there. And we, of course, last week we had a lot to talk about with the Wyatt 6 debut. A lot of speculation, and they didn't really clear things up. Triple H was joking about somebody getting shot in the head on the Pat McAfee show.
Yeah.
It's just like, what the hell, dude?
Yeah.
Well, it looked like he got actually shot in the head.
It did, and they gave him a
I'm
bandage.
sorry, they got him a bandage. It looked like he got shot in the head.
And we're not going to explain it for an entire week.
We're not also going to show the guy with the blood splatter on the wall.
I thought he was
him.
the one who got shot in the head. That's the thing.
Right?
I was like, what?
Like,
What is happening?
What is going on? And then we went to Smackdown where we had a bloody and bludgeoned CM Punk, and it's just like, wow, we are really going hardcore this week.
They said, yeah, we're not going to have any restrictions when we go to Netflix.
No, I
Y'all
gotta
just
get
wait.
ready for it. That was network television. It's on the Fox network.
Right.
We're going to say the fuck word.
What's that?
We're going to say fuck every time for 5 minutes.
Oh, could you imagine a Netflix and they're just like, yeah, we can just drop an F-bomb and nobody cares.
Well, Pat already does it like on his show.
Okay. And isn't he on ESPN?
Yeah, he is. He's on College Game Day.
Oh, jeez.
Well, no, that's I am church for me is Saturday morning College Game Day for college football.
Uh-huh.
And he last year, I think it was his first time on it, was like a controversial figure then.
Uh-huh.
And now he's like, oh, I'm everywhere. I can be controversial wherever. So
yeah, because he really kind of like I thought when he was talking about Michael Cole's like suits when they got like what was it, Men's Warehouse or something as a sponsor, I'm like, I think he's getting scolded in his ear right now.
Oh, definitely. But he doesn't care. That's
Yeah,
why we love
no.
him.
No, it is great because he's very every man, right? He's a yinzer.
He's a yinzer.
Pittsburgh is taken over, and I freaking love it. How I don't think I realized. I just saw a TikTok that Ed O'Neill, the actor from Married with Children or Modern Family, depends on how old you are, played for and got cut by the Steelers. Did you know this?
Is that real?
Apparently he's
That's
telling
real.
a story. It's real. Like Riz knows it, right?
I'm looking this up right now.
He's telling a story on some podcast about how he got cut. He went to a bar. It was like 3 p.m. You know, the thing on the
probably
thing
in Latrobe.
the thing you're probably on the Latrobe. No, it sounded like it was actually in the city.
Oh.
It was 3 p.m. The thing came on the news about him being cut on the Steelers while he's sitting at the bar. And he's like, yeah, they were buying drinks for me. And about 3 a.m., I got pulled over by a cop
An unsigned
who said, hey, didn't you get cut by the Steelers today? He's like, yes. And they said, have a good day, sir.
Oh, an
Because
unsigned free agent.
Pittsburgh. So
In 1969, was in the same training camp as Mean Joe Green and L.C. Greenwood, who would then become the Steel Curtain.
mm-hmm.
Dang. That's, I mean, way to pivot.
Well,
You
yeah.
know?
And the thing about Married with Children was about he was a high school player, glory days guy that everything,
4
went
touchdowns in a
downhill.
game.
4 touchdowns in a game. That's right.
Wow.
That's right. So he really kind of played that, and God, he did a lot of movies where he was a football coach and stuff, right? Like at least 1 or 2.
Little Giants.
Little Giants. That's what I'm
Yeah.
thinking. Thank you for the Little Giants poll.
Of course.
But anyways, Pittsburgh. Other than that, Dave's the partner's talking about that too. SmackDown goes to USA in September. So and that's the thing in America, Raw's going to be the only one on Netflix, which I'm
Only
wondering
Raw.
only Raw, but the rest of the world. Let's recap this. Everything that you see on Peacock that isn't Monday Night Raw, plus SmackDown and NXT, is going to Netflix outside the U.S.
Okay, so they're making that transfer
Yes.
in September?
I think it's at
2025.
January. Well, I don't know when SmackDown and NXT are jumping. I think they're both in the fall.
So that whole catalog is moving over.
Like what you see it, so right now the landscape is WWE Network folded into Peacock for the U.S. Everywhere else in the world, WWE Network still exists, right?
Mhm.
Everything where you still can log into a WWE Network in the territories, I think this includes Canada, will become Netflix. That will all go to Netflix.
Interesting.
Is how I understand how this deal is going. So warm up your VPNs.
Yeah, for real.
And
Get that
if
good
you're
wireless connection.
exactly. It's I think it's going to be very interesting, and I wonder if that's when Netflix is going to start cracking down on VPNs. To be honest,
my God.
because they're very loose with it
no,
right now.
Sorg.
So we'll see what happens. As long as Triller.
I mean, have you seen what they're doing on I'd never heard of this,
Mm.
but they have their own YouTube page that's WWE Vault.
This is a newer one, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I've heard
Yes.
about this, but it's all like legacy clips, right?
Mhm.
Like I don't know from what years to what years.
They were doing what was it? The CIM, I think it was that's CLL. They were doing some Japanese promotion.
Oh,
And they
Yeah,
had a
there was
6-man.
there was Suzuki on there and stuff, right?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
So I mean, it's really it feels like I don't know. Maybe they're just kind of breaking off all that classic content from their main account. Like it's all like there's a whole bunch of Money in the Bank matches, which just feels like something they would have on the main thing.
There's go to their latest posts, to their
Mhm.
videos,
Just so you go
Go
to
to
the
the videos.
videos, the latest videos.
and right there we go.
AJ Styles and Shinsuke.
Second.
What
second
is this?
row.
World 1 versus Warriors Dragon Gate
there it is.
USA. Oh right, they absorbed all the This is part of the
Wow.
Evolve catalog that they got.
Oh my
Mhm.
God.
This Dragon Gate USA, because that's all that WWN stuff with Sapolsky, who randomly. Can I talk about how Sapolsky just appears at shows? There is a. Were you at a couple of those that weekend where you just kind of around Pittsburgh last month?
No, the one that I was on was like in Destiny in Toronto. That man has a crazy travel schedule.
Yes.
He is going places.
I've seen him in Chicago. I've seen
Yeah.
him in Seattle. I've seen him like an entire weekend of shows in Pittsburgh. Apparently, like this is like he was in West Virginia. He was in West Virginia and he was in Butler the next day. I'm like, what the hell is going on right now? You know, and I guess he's basically a talent scout for WWE at this point. So it's cool that we got some attention here in town on some promotions. So hopefully that works
and
out
this
for some
vault
people.
really likes to show clips of the Undertaker.
Yeah, I'm noticing this. Undertaker talk reliving. So it looks like watch-alongs with Undertaker here. I'm afraid to pull some of these clips up here, but
And then there's Chuck Norris helps Undertaker to beat Yokozuna.
I love how they're like making different market segments. Like they're like, yes, we have people who only like the old stuff, but then we're also marketing like the new stuff. And then there's a segment with NXT, but then also like NXT Black and Gold. Like they're really good at segmenting all of their different audiences.
You don't. Well, it's kind of we have something for everybody, right?
Yeah.
You know even like I was talking about. I think I was talking about Missy last night. I was like, it's wild that like I really want to see all these A&E things, right?
Right.
Because the great nostalgia thing is to do all these biographies. Like there was a biography on Rob Van Dam.
Yeah.
He got an A&E biography.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So and then like I remember. It was the other thing I was talking about with somebody. It was like a few years ago with hey, WWE Network went in and we're going to create our own programming, and they really kind of bet on themselves on that, and now that turned into Peacock bought that, right, and gave them a big sack of money. And Stephanie McMahon, I remember, was saying, yeah, we tried the like delivering content thing, but we really think the best option here is licensing, and that's when you get the A&E situation, you get the Hulu situation, because they have a show or two, I think, over there. Quibi was a thing with the show for a minute. So
R.I.P. Quibi.
I mean, R.I.P. Quibi. I like that Reno 911 came back, But look it up, kids. It's the vertical video. Your video shifted thing.
Was it Tout
no, it was
for
not
video?
Tout. It was not
Okay.
Tout. It was something else from an ex-NBC exec. I'm still watching this Dragon Gate match, by the way. Because this is amazing. I can't believe this is on here. But anyways, but that's great because I imagine things like Dragon Gate don't surface well on the Peacock app.
I would imagine.
But I feel like you're gonna find this more. I mean, it's got 5,000 views in the first day. 6,000 views in the first day. That's 5.9. Things like that. So I think it's a good play, and it's like throwing shit on YouTube that makes you money too.
Yeah, and promote like the thing I didn't like about like the network, and even when they came to Peacock, was that they didn't really push libraries.
No.
They only pushed like that one match with Bret Hart and that one guy. I forget what his name is. They said it was the best match ever, apparently.
Oh my
I
God!
forget what his name was.
Him and that random guy that was like a jobber or something, right?
Yeah, they were trying to push him over Bret.
And they were like, where and that guy like disappeared after this match, and it was a house show. It was a weird thing where like this match was like an urban legend because there was nobody could find the footage.
Oh my God!
Because it was like a house show or a dark match or something like that, and it was like the best match like Bret Hart had ever had. And everything with this random guy, it was a Bloody Landell or something.
What year
I don't
was
think
this?
it was Landell. Let me see.
I remember when it came up, we talked a lot. Maybe we had Dabrowski on talk about it or something. But yeah, like wild stuff like that. Like, and they were really good. Like they had what was it, Hidden Gems that they were putting all that stuff under, and it was all like these good old like MSG shows and like ECW matches.
They had those.
Matches,
they had the one
things like that. After Raws.
They had like those old VHS. Not even the matches, but more importantly, they had like this one thing with I think like Buddy Rogers, they doing these seminars but on video. Like it was one of those things where it was like that. Those things alone. I wasn't watching. I was watching some of the pay-per-views, like the. I was watching King of the Ring '98 when I was there. I was watching like other stuff on there that I remember, like uh, SummerSlam '94. But I was also watching the random stuff that was on that show, on that network. And like if they start posting that stuff, like just random tidbits and stuff like that on their YouTube on the WWE Vault, that would make good views on that.
If
I think.
anyone from WWE is listening, if you could please post the what is it, Kenta versus Tyler Breeze match where he pulls out the go to sleep for the first time.
Yes.
Please. I know that, like, I don't think that was officially on a pay-per-view or anything like that, but I did watch it when I was down at Flatbacks, and like it was on a DVD, but I think they gave Breeze that DVD specifically because he worked that match. But, like, please upload that. It's really good, and the crowd reaction is insane.
Get it out there, you know. Yeah. And even like there's, and I know it's like buried somewhere in Peacock, but like all that like Smoky Mountain Wrestling and all those kinds of things they have in the vault. It's in there. I think it's in there, but I haven't watched it in years because it's just hard to on the Peacock. It's really easy to find Lisa Frankenstein, which is also a tremendous movie. Watched it last night. But yeah, it's we'll be happy when WWE gets off the cock. Anyways,
nice.
Shouts to the Anderson family, by the way. I'm glad to see that a member of the family has joined WWE. Jacob Fatu joined SmackDown on Friday. If you know the story, just go look at the Andersons episode of this show from a few months ago. I'm ready for the Andersons to come in and being part of the bloodline. But anyways, so I am loving the idea that the bloodline has become, these are all the Samoans that we were afraid to hire in WWE for this entire time. It's all the ruthless, unhinged, oh my God, there's actual legit stories about some of these guys going wild on shit. Because you got Guerrillas of Destiny from New Japan, if you're not familiar with those guys that have been coming in the last month or so. And then now the Samoan Werewolf, I think he goes by, Jacob Fatu, was tremendous. And I love the idea of like, oh no, this guy is a problem, is how they sold it at the end of that show. And man, we got to be heading towards a SummerSlam with a Roman return. Whether leading into it or at SummerSlam, and it is going to blow the doors off of, they're going to hear it in Canada from Brown Stadium here in a month or so, right? Yeah, exactly. So like that's going to be tremendous. Like, and you just see it coming and like bring it on so much. So that's a big thing that's happening over in SmackDown. The near murder of CM Punk. Okay, that happened too.
He's used to it. Brush it off. He'll be fine.
Yeah, he'll be fine. Rub some dirt in it. He'll be back in a couple weeks. He gets to take the rest of the summer off, right?
Yep.
So at this point. So he got to have his Chicago. He got to get his Chicago pop, and then go home.
If Chad Gable can come back
from a
head wound and win his triple threat match with two giants, CM Punk's just fine.
Absolutely. Tina in the chat
and also
room.
it's Tom McGee.
Tom McGee in Bret Hart, right? That's right. That's out there, and they did like a whole interview around it too. I think, right, about how this is a whole thing. Travel issues will be interesting. Let's see what's happening. Hidden Gems match, like Kenny Omega wrestled for the former Deep South Wrestling Development Territory. That's I think they put that up there previously.
Everything from FCW, like, I don't know, you could like watch the progression of like some of your favorite stars.
Absolutely. AEW biography. The next one is the Steiner Brothers.
Ooh. Cool.
Yep. Way to close out Pride Month there.
Now, Sorg.
I'm just reading the chat room.
Okay.
But now I'm in the chat room. No. Now I'm in another chat. This has gone sideways. Oh no. Nope, not that one. But anyways, yeah. So we will be talking about APWF that has come up. Actually, we're going to talk about a lot of it on Patreon, unfortunately, because there's certain things I will not talk about on this show. But we'll mention them here a little bit. But anyways, I think I had one more note from WWE. I think we covered it.
You want to talk about that? That's on the corner here.
Oh, what's in the corner there? Oh, I don't know. Rosie came up with this question. I think she should let us know what our social media. What?
What's Tilte, Sorg?
What did it say? What did I say? Title run. Oh, I was doing it quick. And it's very small on the screen.
No,
Hold on.
the squiggle on their keyboard is a tilde.
Title.
Yeah.
Tilde. Is Damian Priest Tilde run mid? No. Rosie, you go ahead and say it.
No, oh God, I don't know this man personally. He has an insane work ethic, or else he wouldn't be the WWE. What is it? The Judgment Day are supposed to be bad guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
But everyone loves Rhea.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone loves Finn.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like good bad guys, right?
Yeah.
But then you have like bad guys. So you have like bad guys that you love to hate, which could be like Randy Orton, could be like CM Punk, it could be Roman. And then you have good guys like Cody, shining example. I feel like Priest isn't any of them. He's just kind of like...
He's just there. He looks cool.
Oh, he looks great. I love bisexual Undertaker. I really do. He's serving every single time he goes out. Whoever is making his gear, good for you. You're doing it. It's not a lack of promo skills because he can talk on a mic. I just don't know. And let it play out.
Mm-hmm.
It just feels like it's not giving what it needs to give in order to really buy into his title run.
I think he's suffering from just first title syndrome. We're kind of figuring out where that is with him and still filling things out, giving him the competitors, putting some, and also you got to put some doubt in it because the way he won the belt, like Seth is saying, you've had help with all of your title wins title retention so far, right? So I think that's the story is that he's mid, right? Like that's exactly what they're telling is he is the most mid title right now.
Yeah.
And he is out there to try to prove himself. And that's why we're having Seth and everything, right?
Like maybe they're playing 4D chess and like this is intentional in order to set it up so that when something crazier happens down the line, this was all a plan, which is usually how wrestling goes. It's all a plan.
There's a lot of other things happening. The title is just kind of over here.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
And that's okay. You have 100 of them, so
I did notice that in during Raw last night. It was Damian trying to corral everybody in the Judgment Day, like he's their actual dad, and it was like, oh, where's JD and Finn going? Oh, stay away from he's the world champion, and he's not playing as world champion level. He's playing as a somebody who's corralling somebody. Or he's like it would be better if this was Intercontinental or US title championship, but even in that, nobody's going to really pay that close attention of that.
So Tina's pointing out some stuff here in the chat room too. As soon as Damian said that he had said that the Judgment Day needed him more than he needs them. That's interesting. You know, you do have those kind of interesting. You got a lot of threads happening here in the Judgment Day.
The Judgment Day could break up in so many different ways.
Oh my God!
And
yes.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love all of the different seeds that are being sowed, and my main thing right now is when Rhea comes back. Bro, she is going
to over.
I feel like she's going to run through the entire group at this point.
She is. And that's the thing also is when I think of Judgment Day, I think of Rhea. And so when you don't have someone in that position, you need to fill that void.
It's a dysfunctional clubhouse.
Yes!
It's literally a dysfunctional clubhouse. You got this. You got Liv hanging out and doing weird stuff. You got Carlito encouraging Dominic, and everybody says, no, this is a bad idea. Like whatever Finn is doing over here.
Of it?
What's that?
Is Carlito even a
I don't
member?
know. Carlito just
He's
hangs
like the
out.
R-Truth.
He's just
Yeah,
like,
he's the new
listen.
R-Truth.
Yeah, he's the R-Truth. He's the new
R-Truth.
R-Truth. He's just hanging out. They just share a mutual dislike for Rey Mysterio, and you know, at this point, and he just like Carlito's the lost puppy of the group, you know, which is funny because
Carlito.
JD's also there.
Yes.
Yeah, he is.
So I mean, and also the fact that they keep making fun of JD's quote Klingon-like forehead
He does
from
a
Michael
giant
Cole
head.
last night
National television.
on national television.
Man,
I'm like,
y'all doing that man dirty.
we are just like forehead shaming this dude right now. You know, I'm like, wow. You know,
I have a 5 head. Welcome to the club.
yeah.
Yeah.
Royalty sees royalty. Okay.
There you go. So it's just so much fun, and again, just Michael Cole being unhinged and left to his own devices for an hour and a half. But that was so played perfectly. Finn,
So I want to still talk about this though,
okay,
because I want to roll it a little bit more
okay,
because of how deep we were looking into like the Wyatt 6 and,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
and those QR codes and all that stuff.
We're deep. Those are so cool.
One thing I noticed last night, and I think I mentioned this in our little group chat on Facebook.
in your live chatting of
Yes.
the McAfee.
No, this was during Raw, so
Okay.
it was past that. During the promo, where Liv came out of the clubhouse, I guess they're calling it. Is it
Mhm.
clubhouse?
Yeah,
Whatever it's called, the locker room. Finn was going through W2K24,
mm-hmm.
and he stopped at Survivor Series 2023. That was the War Games match they lost.
Okay, that's another thing is all
Ooh.
of these seeds in the background
Mm-hmm.
where, of course, all of these fans, now that we've gone in a completely different creative direction, now that a certain person is no longer involved, they have the ability to see, like, there are, like, different seeds.
And they hired a continuity writer.
Period. Okay, so there's that.
It's a fucking comic book now.
But I feel like there's also the ability for talent potentially, and I don't know anything, to like pitch things that they want to have happen in the background. And you know, there are so many people who are dedicated to all of these different characters. So they're like, wait, is that specific person? I remember when it popped off when Finn and, oh, help me, God, blonde, currently women's title holder.
Liv.
Liv.
Yeah.
Liv
Like
Morgan.
came out of the van together. People were like, what is going on?
Mhm.
I feel like these tiny little micro seeds are making into the micro seeds in the story, or ending up in a great direction.
The Nikki Cross just in the background for like months.
Jay chillin'.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
it's
good.
Just, yeah, it's incredible. We got a VHS tape this week.
Yeah.
And we had I can't remember Bodouse's real name. They said it a few times. I want to say it's Taylor, right? But talking to Uncle Howdy, somebody had pointed out that they were in the funhouse when they're
Yes.
having that
Yeah.
conversation. I was listening to the Bubba Dudley's conversation about it. It says that has done more for him than his entire career of Bo Dallas.
Yes.
It was real. It was. I mean, it wasn't him. That was just him talking. Like I think it was just him, his real feelings. It was got everybody to goosebumps, and has, and they're doing the right thing because I think we talked about last week this could be a terrible idea to rehash Bray's thing, but they set the table.
Because they're doing it in an honoring way. Do you
And
know what I mean?
they've said that quiet part out loud now in the best way possible,
Yeah.
right? So, and they set it up with a documentary.
Literally.
it's incredible,
They did.
Yeah.
right? Like you've never seen that before. Like they're just, God, they're doing so well and just knocking it out of the park on so many levels.
It's like they're not squishing his legacy. They're like actively building up his legacy with new things and
Yeah.
like taking
Mhm.
the people who are most important to him
Mhm.
and like implementing them along with it, which I feel like is honoring him in such a great way.
Yeah, because I mean, somewhere out there is some kind of outline of what he wanted to do.
Mhm.
Right, and they can at least take that and build on that, and with the person that knew him the best, his brother. So, no, that's incredible. I can't wait to see how that's been going. So, And also, I want to give a shout out to our friends that do support this show and support these great conversations on our Patreon, patreon.com/Wrestling Mayhem Show. This is the second week that we are trying something new where if you're on Patreon, you can get a live feed that actually starts before the show. We go live. You get to see what's going on when the graphics are playing for everybody else or when we're hopping on the calls and everything like that. And, maybe you hear some extra little chatter about what we really think about the Divas title. The answers may surprise you. And we'll, as long as I don't bump the power like I did for Awesome Cast earlier, we'll also stream the Patreon recording. So, but in whatever conversation we get into there, and I am going to talk about APWF, which was a fantastic show. Despite some unfortunate personnel that were present that didn't do their jobs. Music that we will got to be, and I want to talk about that because I don't want to be negative on this show. I want to be positive about wrestling and all the great things doing with wrestling, and we'll talk about APWF in a positive note later. And of course, we had Bubba the Brewer. Bubba the Brewer, sure, the Bubster himself. I was so because Bubba Brewer did a Hulk Hogan type gimmick years ago, and I saw somebody with a Bubster shirt walking in, and it made me so happy because I've heard about this, but I never witnessed anything with it because I've only been introduced with Bubba from like Fight Underground during COVID and everything. I knew nothing about his history other than what we talked about on the streams that we were doing at the time. And but anyways. So Patreon's going to get that. We were on for an hour. I just looked. There's an hour recording on Patreon of us just BSing with Bubba last week. Yeah. I don't even know what all we talked about, but I'm sure it was fascinating. Riz, I think you hung around for most of that, right?
I was there, but I zoned out halfway
I was
through.
present for this,
but not mentally.
Yeah. I'm sure we're talking about the business. So if you want more of that, it's part of Patreon. Again, we'll be talking about some things that we don't like about indie wrestling. I try to leave the negative at least off of there. You got to pay for the negative. I don't want to be.
Negative goes in the paywall.
Well, you don't need more negative out there in the free range. We don't need free range negativity out there.
Again,
mucking things up.
Yes. I want to point out something. That right over there, the whole title there.
What do you point out? Oh, out there, a hashtag WMS 915.
And
yes.
then is Damian Priest title unrated? That's how close we are to being angry.
I'm not going to say he sucks. I'm going to use Rosie's word of mid.
Listen, okay, no, if you're gonna blame anyone, it should be MJF.
Okay, all right. Well, yeah, there you go.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
And we're not bashing on him.
No, we're just
like,
posing a question.
Yes.
A slightly provocative question, which is what we apparently need to do for social media.
It's the tea.
Also, Damian Priest is very big, and he would probably destroy all of us.
Yeah.
The guy whose name literally used to be the Punisher. Anyways, but thank you to everybody that does support this show on patreon.com/Wrestling Mayhem Show, including our friends at the fan of the show level, Bo Diggity! Woo! As well as Team Hammerfist down in Florida, the Tupac family, and Megan Nelson, our newest person on the Patreon. On the Poppy Club level is Dave, Profit Partner, spells the Roost Jewelry Affair at roostjewelryaffair.com, and Rats in a Trench Coat, Tony Kincaid. At the Pizza Club level, Doc Remedy and The Riz, there he is, on the show and supporting. And at the manager level, Bradley. Thank you so much, everybody that supports the show at patreon.com/Wrestling Mayhem Show.
Somebody has to.
And I got to give a shout. I think we mentioned it briefly, but again, if you want to check out Riz and Katie were playing Little Kitty, Big City on the stream. You can check it out on the Sorgatron Media Twitch or the Wrestling Mayhem Show Facebook page and the YouTube. And it was fun, and we got to look at wrestler photos, and it was a pretty good time.
It was one of the funnest mindless games I've played in quite some time.
I left the controller out for Missy and says, "You should play Little Kitty Big City while I'm gone today." And I told her it's like the Goose Game. So, and I think that's going to sell her on this thing.
She better not
Goose Game slaps.
complete our game.
Oh no! She's gonna do her own. She's gonna start her own
Okay.
save, I'm sure. Put it on her account and all that kind of stuff. I'm sure.
Okay, good. I just wanna
This
make sure.
Sunday, unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to see it at least live to begin with, because there is a wrestling show this weekend that we'll mention here in a little bit that we will be attending. Well, I will be. I don't think. Okay, I think it's just me out of us. But Forbidden Door is this weekend. One of my favorite shows. I got to attend the first one, thanks to my friends at Warrior doing a show across the parking lot that day for a matinee. That was a lot of fun. But it is one of my favorite ones that they do throughout the year. Not as big of a deal because we have these crossovers now all the time with New Japan and CMLL and AAA and everything. But still, I love that we do a focus on something like this and start bringing in people that we don't see so often. But that is this Sunday. That is a Sunday show. And the graphics won't go bigger. Okay, but we do have Swerve Strickland and Will Ospreay, who is still currently, which champion is that again?
Intercontinental?
Mid-Atlantic, Inter-Atlantic. Damn it.
The multi-country one.
I can't.
Yeah.
Yes,
Not
that
the
belt.
Intercontinental. It's something.
It's the one
different.
Cassidy had, right?
Yes.
So.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. I haven't watched AEW.
I watch AEW every week, like every minute of it every week, and I can't remember the belt. You're okay. I see the problem now.
Inter-Atlantic.
There's a
Mid-Atlantic.
Continental.
Mid-Atlantic.
Mid-Atlantic.
Transatlantic accent.
Trans-Siberian Orchestra. What?
Oh my God.
Anyways, it doesn't matter. That title's not on the line. Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland for the World Championship. Is this too early for a Will Ospreay World Championship? Yes.
Sorry. Oh, do I need to state my opinion? Okay.
That's what this show's for. Yes.
Oh, great. Ooh, hot take. Oh my God.
And also, as a sidebar, is Swerve's championship mid?
Wow. Whoa. Okay. Well, you can talk about that one. I'm gonna talk about this one first.
Okay.
I think AEW has a slight problem where they sign a really big hot talent, and then they automatically put them into like a contention spot for a title or put them into a big storyline, and then
there's a good point there, Riz.
and I'm not gonna end like that. It's just and then. And so we have this kind of amalgamation of huge big stars from the other company coming in,
or a other company,
but you don't have a lot of those like home team, been there since day one dudes, haven't really built up home promotion stars. And don't get me wrong, Will Ospreay is one of, if not one of the best wrestlers in the entire world right now, and of all time. You could have that discussion for days on end. I don't know what other, because they've set this precedent of having other people come in. I don't know what else they would put them into, and obviously people buy tickets to see him fly, to see him be athletic, to see him be amazing at what he does. But I feel like it's this continuous loop that it keeps occurring.
Yeah, and they've been using him a lot on television. They're really like he's the golden boy right now. And of course, you've lost Adam Copeland to injury. A lot of other guys are out for injury or something. MJF is just coming back, so there is a little bit of shakeup there that I think he's covering for, and maybe they're using more than they had originally intended.
Right.
You know, and he does have several levels things: the Tiger Driver situation, the Callis family. And everything like that. Riz, you were going to say something.
I was going to say, he also is defending his international championship. That's actually what it's called. But also,
Bingo. Found it.
Yeah, but also,
thank you, Tina.
They're kind of like, I think now that a certain Rick O'Shea is a free agent.
Oh, dude.
I wouldn't be surprised if they're going to go,
but then,
dare I say, all in on having that match of Ospreay and Ricochet.
But then again, Riz, you're proving the point of what I just said. Of they're bringing in a new hot talent, and it's like I wonder how many times they can play this game until they don't have any hot new guys anymore.
Until Tony Khan runs out of money,
which is not going to be
It's
possible.
never.
It's never going to happen.
Yeah.
It's never. I mean, he's not going to stop he's gonna try to do these like big name signings, and honestly, that's fine. That's like I just saw tomorrow. It's Zack Sabre Jr. and Kyle O'Reilly.
Yep.
Which slaps. Will
But
slap.
Put that on
Incredible.
pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like I would.
We're going to already get Orange Cassidy and Zack Sabre Jr. So I mean, that's already out there, the rematch. So, but I mean, but that's what they do. They're, what was it, Tony Khan? I book wrestling for sickos like me. It's they're going to have baller matches on TV.
Yeah.
Because that's the show they do, and they have to keep that level up.
Yeah.
And not everybody can do that because they're doing like New Japan level matches on TV. Not all the time, but they get one or two like per week, right?
And then the Chris Jericho segment.
And there's whatever's happening with Chris Jericho, which I don't want to get into that. I hate it. Let's put it that way.
Thanks, guys.
But yeah, I think and to your point of the Ricochet allegedly will happen. I think he does not get this title because he still got the other one, and then we're gonna have like I think an international title run with a Ricochet feud to rekindle that, and also this is rekindling these two because these clips about the clips of the sequences and dance-offs from the UK have been popping up between Strickland and Ospreay.
I want it.
So you almost hope there's a dance break in this, but I think it's a little too serious of a storyline with the families being brought up. But anyways, we're going to have an IWGP World Championship match, Jon Moxley and Naito, which is the rematch from when Moxley got the belt in Chicago.
Slaps.
I'm here for it. Tony Storm and Mina Shirakawa. Oh my God, this story. I knew zero about Mina Shirakawa. I had the fortune to be at the Philly Stardom show, and that was when I was first introduced to her. And the that's when that was the week that her and Tony and Maria May thing started, right? And it has been tremendous and interesting relationships happening there, let's say.
It's one for the girls.
It's one for the girls.
Girls, gays, and theys.
What's that?
It's one for the girls, gays, and theys.
Yes. Either way, it's got a lot of people's attention.
Yes.
But not in like a weird way. Like, okay, it's weird, but it's a fun weird. Let's put it that way, right?
Yeah.
And it is. And it's something that, you feel like WWE has tried to do this type of storyline in the Lana and Liv Morgan, wasn't it? For
Rhea
instance.
and Liv Morgan.
What was it?
Rhea and Liv Morgan.
Rhea, or even Rhea and Liv Morgan, I guess. Yeah, I guess that's probably the closest they've gone to actually working. But yeah, I can't. God, Tony Storm's going to have this title for a year. She's not giving this up until All Out. Or All In, at least.
It would be incredible if they put like the title on Mina.
Yes.
But it's one of those like political relations type things of like, could they?
Well, speaking of, we got title versus title with Mercedes and Stephanie McCoy. I love Stephanie McCoy. Oh my God, she was the one when I was out there for that resurgence where Willow ended up winning the title.
Right.
I did not know anything about Stephanie going into that thing. And just from that first match, I'm like, okay, oh, this is a throwaway person for them to get, Willow and Mercedes in the main event, has to be, right? Because spoiler, spoiler, they don't tell production who wins tournaments.
No way.
I have sheets in the studio.
Wow.
I think I can give this away. When you get that sheet and it's a tournament like that, literally that main event was question mark. We don't get winners. We don't get anything. Like the main production person knows.
They're even
and I was the tech director. I'm the one switching the show, and I didn't know. Right?
That's crazy.
Well, could that also be like?
There's also when they do those like Riz, those New Year's Dash shows and things like that. You literally get a show with that outline. Hey, there's a singles, there's a tag, all question marks. The only people that know are the producer, and they have to tell the video and sound guy.
Wow.
No, I get.
And this is why I love New Japan, because they are fucking through and through,
With
fucking
kayfabe.
amazing on that stuff.
Yeah.
The shit is not gonna leak from them.
Good for them.
Chris?
No, I was gonna say I get like what they. I get the tournament portion of that.
Yeah.
Like cards subject to change. Like if somebody gets hurt or if somebody gets injured.
I don't think it's even that. It's not even that, and actually good because there was an injury and it did change the finish.
Yeah.
As we know. But it's you don't leak shit. You know, if it's not out there, you don't have pieces of paper lying around the whole arena. Nobody's going to accidentally take a picture and fucking send it to Wrestling Inc. or something.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's neat. I mean, yeah.
That's some old school stuff. Good for them.
Mm-hmm.
That's really cool.
Yeah. But anyways, that's title for title. It's the New Japan Championship, World Women's Championship, New Japan Strong Women's Championship. Let's get that right. And the TBS Championship. Man, Mercedes could definitely get that New Japan title. They could.
So is it going to be like? So is it going to be? Because they're obviously going Tony versus Mercedes, right? Like they're kind of building that.
Title
Are
versus
they?
title?
Are they?
I don't.
Where are you seeing this at?
No, I'm just assuming.
No.
There's a reason
I
why they
think
got
so.
her.
No, there's a reason
And
to
it's
elevate
not
the show
for
in general.
holding the TBS championship.
Well, maybe down the line, but I don't think.
They've never done women's championship versus TBS championship before, have they?
Right.
Not that I'm aware of.
Oh,
Not
either
to- yeah.
it might have been on like a Battle of the Belts type thing, but I
Maybe.
don't think it's ever happened. But if they are heading in that direction, hot take, I feel like it would be a disservice to that division because
Right.
you would basically be putting one girl on top with both belts and saying, "I'm that bitch." Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
Jade. Sorry, but like, I feel like you would need to grow different storylines.
Yeah, and unless you know something about the TV deal that we don't. So, but we'll see. Either way, it'll be a very, very good match. We mentioned Orange Cassidy, Zack Sabre Jr. We've seen it before. We're gonna love seeing it again. Bryan Danielson and Shingo Takagi. One of the matches, the quarterfinal match in the Owen Hart Invitational. I'm here for it.
Slaps.
I'm here for it. Shingo's amazing. And the Forbidden Door Tag Championship. I'm sorry. What the hell did I get out of
What
that?
did you just say,
I just made
Spark?
up words. TNT Championship. Yeah. TNT Championship ladder match. We got Dante Martin, Mark Briscoe, Takeshita, Jack Perry, Leo Rush, and one more person. And I don't know if that's going to be a surprise day of or if they're going to sell that in the next couple of days. But
I am hoping. I would hope that it would be like a Bullet Club boy, or it would be like.
I see them dropping Jay or Juice in that, right?
You could.
Either way.
Well, wait. Can you run back those names again? Is there any Japanese talent in that match?
Leo Rush, I would
He does New
qualify
Japan.
as New Japan.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Just Takeshita. That's the only.
Takesha's no. Takesha's a DDT guy.
Yeah.
He didn't do much New Japan. So, but yeah, yes, I made a new title for TK. Sorry, guys.
Yeah,
So-
just bring out Murder Grandpa.
Murder Grandpa. Hey, oh my
dude.
God! I thought I saw people.
Guys,
There
they
is.
mean that,
There is.
hey.
I don't know how many times now because they did it in Pittsburgh and they did it. He was a mystery. He was the mystery partner at Ring of Honor at that pay-per-view at WrestleMania
No
weekend.
way.
I thought. Have you ever seen grown wrestling fans cry? The answer is yes.
I have.
But
The answer
lately,
is yes.
it's usually when
Uh.
Suzuki is a surprise.
Yeah.
And watching like an entire arena just lose their fucking minds when Murder Grandpa comes
Incredible.
out. It's just so good. Anyways, so much good stuff. Forbidden Door. That is 7 matches announced, and we'll wait for the other 10. But in the meantime, there's a lot of wrestling for you to watch. Watch more wrestling, and we're going to help you with that. So much going on. We talked about last week about the RWA and the VCWs and the 2PWs. VCW, actually, we had dropped 5-Day Fridays. Last Friday we dropped it for free on YouTube and the network. You can go watch that, including Beastman versus Sam Adonis. Congo Kong is a part of that show. Zeke Mercer, Cowpoke Paul, Glenn Spector. Really, really good, fun show. It's a blast. Go watch it. It is free, and that leads into this week. We will have live Sunday on Indie Wrestling Network on YouTube. Ringside members as well, and the network. VCW's show this Sunday, and I need to pull up some graphics for that. We'll talk about that here momentarily. Also, God, there's so much going on. That's going to include Hardcore 69 of Shadow WX and Madman Pondo against Beastman and Jason Gory. Do I have your attention now? That's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of great stuff coming out. I'm hearing chatter about what they're planning for the show, and it is going to be a lot of fun. VCW. Somebody has been keeps going on about how VCW is one of the most entertaining promotions in the area. It is. I mean, it's the one that went viral on Botchamania with the tables. It is always got something wild. Super Oprah is always there. It's one of the physically largest rosters I've seen between Super Oprah, Beastman, Congo Kongs, and God knows who else shows up that month. So go check it out. Victory Championship Wrestling. Come down Sunday in McMeckman, West Virginia, just down the highway from Wheeling, West Virginia, if you're familiar with that, and not afraid to cross the line to West Virginia. Or if you're West Virginia allergic, hit us up, IndieWrestling.network for that. Also, free stuff this week, of course, the Thursday night fights as usual, but there is also over at 880 Wrestling, it is...
the bar exams?
It is a bar exam.
Is the bar exam coming up?
Two.
David
Lawless's bar exam 2, which is going to, of course, we're seeing some familiar faces pop up over there, including Envy Young and Jack Pollock will be taking on Edric Everhart and Matt Connard going on.
Sorg, I just want to point out something on this poster. CL's injured.
Yeah, CL was on the injured reserve.
So I had to fill in somebody's name, and just be prepared.
What?
Bring your gear. Sorg.
Bring your gear. I'm not on this show. No. We're not doing that. No. But who is on the show? Den and Desire and the Runway are on the show.
Sorg, we're gonna be tag team champions.
No, we're not gonna be tag team champions.
It's
we're not taking
challenge,
on.
Sorg.
No, it is an open challenge. Gianni and Michael
challenge.
Enrico, David Lawless. We'll figure out what bit from I Think You Should Leave they'll do this week, and so
the sparkly vests at Enjoy were a sight to behold.
it was a sight, and I
really
had
good.
to I had to go watch the skit because apparently it's on the earlier one I had watched recently. So I don't know. Listen, I got a weird mix happening because I go watch I Think You Should Leave so I can understand what David Lawless is doing in the ring these days, and then I see Damian Sandow on the show, who I worked with on Saturday. Like, my wrestle worlds are really meshed, and they're all on Netflix. It's weird. It's very strange. You know,
I wonder if
just
the
preparing
I Think
you
Should
for
Leave
January.
creators know that they are getting so many watches from indie wrestling in Pittsburgh.
and single-handedly. That's why there's going to be a
Pay
season
the
4.
royalties. Come on.
Yes, exactly. So some really good stuff coming there. The 88 shows are always crazy, and we will be streaming next week. Apparently, we're doing an all-day show with bands in Lawrenceville for 4th of July.
Oh my God.
We'll see how that goes because all of my regular staff is already booked for the 4th of July. So it's going to be a Sorg-palooza.
I'm just gonna pull this up here. Just
pray for
What's
you,
happening?
Sorg.
Riz, are you okay?
No, I'm okay. Keep going.
Okay, keep going. Okay. Oh, also announced today, Neo Pro Wrestling has joined Indie Wrestling US on the network and the YouTube members right now. Their first 4 shows from them from 2023. So they're relatively new promotion. I got to go check them out back in March. I think I talked about that here on the show when that happened. The show was so good I lost an AirPod. So, which I think I talked about again on the Awesome Cast tonight. But very excited about that. And of course, you know, one of the people when I went to go see Neo Pro, because it was a lot of like, oh, I know a lot of people here already. It's like I've already known this promotion. And one of the people there that was refereeing the company's first ever women's championship tournament match was our guest here, referee Rozie Jones. Was a part of that.
I was.
Were you doing finger claps or something there?
Yeah. It's a little. I don't have the long enough nails to make a sound with it. But little ASMR guys.
Because Megan Myers was a part of that, a friend of the show. I cannot recall the name of the wonderful talent she was up against at the moment.
Alexis.
I know she was from Kentucky. What was it?
Alexis last name. Oh, she's gonna be so mad at me for forgetting her name.
We're gonna give her a shout here in a moment here, but.
Seconds. A.L. Youngblood? No, that's her Twitter. Alexis Littlefoot.
Yes, she was awesome.
I'm sorry, babe. I'm really sorry. My brain is not functioning well.
But they got a lot of fun stuff going on there. I guess they're in their second year officially. Just had an
Really
anniversary show.
Yeah.
Really young company, and they got a lot. Like for a young company, they have a lot working for them. And of course, a lot of people are familiar with Beastman. And everybody else escapes my memory right now. But there's a lot of familiar names on there. If you watch a lot of stuff on IndieWrestling.us or this show in particular, I know there's a lot of familiar faces there. So I'm really excited to see that they're going to get in front of our audience and see a lot of people will know and they're not far away. They do Canton, Ohio, Salem, Ohio. Mm-hmm. So if you're in the greater Pittsburgh area, that's within like an hour, hour and a half.
Literally an hour and 20-something of a drive. It's super quick. Mm-hmm. The venue is really small and intimate, and they treat everyone really well. It's a very family-type environment, even though they have some hardcore matches. Good times. Good
so
times
give a shout out to them. They got Rhino on the next show, Gold Rush, and the Cougars have just shown up. So 440 is now about part of that promotion.
These guys jumped a young man in the main event.
What?
It was horrible. Boo you, Christian. Boo you.
Yes. So go check that out. But Rozie, let's talk about you. You are just a couple years in this business, I believe, right?
Yeah.
I know. I know you were there when we were starting the 880 Thursday night fights.
Yeah.
And then you disappeared, and then I saw you on Triller on AIW and everywhere else it seems, and everything. I'm like, where'd she go? Oh, there she is on my TV, in Ohio doing stuff.
R.I.P. Sorry, guys.
So, well, first of all, there are not a lot of female referees, definitely in this area.
Correct.
I think you're the one.
I am.
So, so tell me a little bit about your kind of entry into professional wrestling.
Yeah. Do you want from a training perspective or just like interest in
How
general?
did you get here?
Good. Great question. Okay.
How did you get here?
How did I get here? Cool. Okay. So I was living in Dallas, Texas.
Mm-hmm. Great wrestling scene down there.
Great wrestling scene down there.
I've attended Metro Pro, for instance.
Yeah, or DFW All Pro, or a whole bunch of others. I grew up in Pittsburgh, but I went to school down there, SMU, Pony Up. Did my undergrad and grad there, and then was working in telecom at a terrible job, horrible, 0 out of 10, do not recommend. And I had some friends who were like a couple that went to Mania every year. And that year they were saving up because he was going to propose and it was going to save up for their wedding and all of this cute stuff. Shout out Brandon and Steph. They started the addiction. And so it was, I'm not good with WrestleMania numbers, 38 New York, Becky 2 belts.
Okay.
Is that correct?
I think it might have been 37.
37? RIP. Anyway, fake fan, guys. They're like, oh, we're holding a Mania watch party, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The couple's name is Brandon and Steph. Brandon's cooking, and they're doing prop bets and stuff, and they're talking mad smack, and I show up with, like, some terrible grocery store cookies with the terrible icing, and it's stale, and it's fine. And so they're doing all of this stuff, and I show up late, and the first match that I watch is Kofi Kingston, Daniel Bryan for the title.
Mm-hmm.
Ever. That was my first wrestling match ever. And so
never was in your orbit.
So I mean, I was vaguely aware of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like I knew who the Undertaker was, and I was really scared of him when I was 10 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that Hulk Hogan was this very tan old man who had an E! Network show, and I knew that.
And apparently he knows stuff.
Apparently he knows stuff, and then Total Divas was like in my sphere, as like a 13, 14, 15-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
But so Kofi wins the title, and both Brandon and Steph are both black, and. You ever see that reaction video of like Shad Gaspard and MVP and they're at a bar and they're watching that match and they're crying? That was Brandon.
Nice.
And this Brandon is a person who I would consider to be like my father. Like he's had such an influence on my life. But I had never seen that man cry up until his wedding day. And so I was like, and he's a big dude, you know what I mean? But it was like some thug tears. He's like trying not to cry, but he's definitely crying, but we're not going to talk about the fact that he's crying. Like it was just a very impactful moment. And so I was like, what is happening? Like, isn't this fake? Like, what? Like,
yeah.
And so I just had to know. So they gave me their network password and I deep dove And like, it was that moment, and then also Becky 2 belts, and it was like that. Yes, I understand that match was not the greatest match, and there was a botch at the end, and I can understand that. But from a outside perspective, prior to maybe this year with NCAA women's basketball and the WNBA, where else do you see 75, 85, 90,000 people being so engaged in women's sports? And so, yes, there's the glitz and the glam and the pyro and the music and everything and freaking Joan Jett playing your entrance music, but like that visual like left such an impact on me, and so I had to know more. They gave me network password, and I got in. I think the first match that I watched post that was like Money in the Bank, where Bayley cashed in. Everyone was super hot on her. Deep dove into NXT Black and Gold, which is kind of like my bread and butter. Sasha versus Bayley, Takeover Brooklyn, like the greatest thing about wrestling is it keeps giving, because there are so many different forms and styles and histories and stories, and you can just keep going until you find your niche. And the greatest thing about it is like it's all respectable. Like you love deathmatch stuff, you love women's stuff, you like midget wrestling, you like lucha, you like anything. All of it is respectable. All of it is valid. All of it is good. So that's how it started. And then that was 19-ish. So then I graduate grad school in 19. And then 7 months later, a thing called COVID happens. And the year of 2021 was not my friend. My apartment got robbed in Dallas in 2021 when like the huge snowstorm was happening and the whole power grid failed and all of that. And it was just not a good time. So I ended up moving back in with my parents. They live in Jacksonville. And I was getting really tired of being like emotionally and mentally exhausted. And I said, let me go be physically exhausted. So I went to Flatbacks. Down in Orlando, which is Sean Spears, Tyler Breeze, and only wanted to be a ref. I should also say during that time of the 2020s was listening to a lot of wrestling podcasts, and so one of them was Chris Van Vliet, and he had Aubrey Edwards on as they were like just starting AEW, and I found it a little bit later than the broadcast date, but I was like, we have so many similarities. I like to think that we have so many similarities. I have not met her yet, but I love her. Where like she's an engineer. She had a very long career in video game development, and she has like a performance background. I was a theater kid in high school and did competitive dance in college, and then she just kind of during that like hour and 30 minutes conversation, I was like, that is mother, like that's it, like that's what I want to do. So yeah, started at Flatbacks, and then you go through that, and then it's kind of, they do like a more of an intensive situation, so it's like 8 weeks long.
I was gonna say, so I don't think a lot of people know, like if you're I don't want to say just, but if you're training for a referee, like we always hear stories about what wrestling training like and everything like that is.
Yeah.
Are you going through a lot of the same processes physically as the wrestling? Or is it does that kind of split off at a certain point? Like what does that kind of look like for people that don't know how referee training goes?
That's a great question. I think it depends on where you go. So there are some places that I know of that don't really have their refs do bumps or rolls or anything like that, because that's not what they're in the ring to do. A thing that I got told at a Mike Chioda seminar was that like they don't want you to roll around and bump with the wrestlers, because when you do a ref bump, you want it to make as like non-wrestling as possible.
Yes.
Like you want it to make like you actually died.
Yeah. You're a normal.
Yeah. You're a normie. You're a normie, dude. Yeah. So that's one approach to it. At Flatbacks, they did make us do bumps and rolls, but that was pretty much the extent of the physicality. You didn't do any takeovers, you didn't do snapmares, you didn't do any of that type of stuff. Like once you got through the basics, that was it. And then basically you go through ref training, which is like a lot of ring awareness, a lot of horseshoe training, knowing how to pass messages discreetly, knowing how to talk in your in-ear discreetly, knowing where hard camera is, all of that type of stuff. So it really depends from place to place. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for learning that, where hard cam is.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I got you.
Yes, and thank you for not listening to George that you're on the wrong side of the ring.
Anyway.
George.
Bobby.
Referees. Bubby gets
Come on,
telling people
Bobby.
wrong information, or at least you were blamed last week. Anyways, no, yeah, and so that makes a lot of sense because I just thought you had showed, in my mind, in my purview, you just showed up at 880 one time. You know what I mean? I'm like, who is this? Who is it? We got a lady rep. Where did she come?
Yeah,
from?
and
What
that
is happening?
like low key, that's kind of how it happened too.
Yeah,
Where I was done with flatbacks and I didn't have a job, and so I had gone up to Pittsburgh, came back after like 7 years. And one of my friends from high school was working at a robotics location, and so I'm an engineer, and so
We're gonna have you on AwesomeCast too, apparently.
and she was like, "Hey, we're hiring. Like, do you want to come back home?" And I was like, "Honestly, yeah." Like, there was a point in my life where I just needed like a safe landing pad, and I just needed like to be back home. And I feel like that's a lot, very true for a lot of people who went through the pandemic and were in like bright lights, big city, wanted to go and do all of these. What is it? Wide open spaces by the Dixie Chicks, But for me, I felt like it was really important to come back home and sort of, where your grocery stores are, where to take people if they, want to go for a night out. Like, it's just a very family centered, at least for me, Pittsburgh is. And so I had come back and I was in the city, and I wanted to get back into wrestling after I had like solidly moved in, got planted with my job, everything. And so I started messaging around to different promotions. And so I hit some up and we're like, hey, like, I went through some training here and, can I come help out sometime? Some places said no. Some places left me on red. And then Enjoy said, hey, we would love for you to come help out. Here's when load-in is. And so I show up, not knowing anything about this promotion, but knowing that the card looked pretty sick, and they were very nice to me via DM. And I showed up one time, and then that night they let me ring bell, and I had met MV, and I was like, yeah, like I did a little bit of training here, but I want to be a ref. And he's like, you don't want to wrestle? I said, absolutely not. And he was like, cool. So then he was starting up 880, and then I had gone. Then I was like, screw it, I'm gonna go to 880, and. So your assumption of who the hell is this is literally how I also felt.
That's it. Well, so that's how I'm usually like, who the hell is this person that just showed up? At wrestling things, and then they turned out to be you.
Do you need a little card? Do you need a card? Is it?
Yeah.
You need a lower third on here.
Yeah. That's it. I'm like, who else is this new face? Like that's my initial reaction to every single person I meet in a wrestling business. No, and it's been great seeing you there and seeing you like expand out again. You're at Neo Pro, AIW, Enjoy Wrestling, like you're making like other places. Like, I keep seeing you pop up in other states, so I'm loving that because you're not also like you're already of that mentality of getting, we're always like, get out of Pittsburgh if you want to expand, right? And a lot of people don't do that, and I think you're already on that. You're already on that tip, and knowing where you trained, that makes so much sense.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's really important to. What is it? Once again, wide open places.
Diversify.
Dixie Chicks, like
diversify.
Yeah, what is it? Your life isn't stock options, but it is important to diversify your portfolio.
And even refereeing at a tattoo convention at the convention center
that was
last
pretty
week.
sick. That was really cool. I did no idea where we were walking to. I felt very fancy getting like VIP parking at the David L. Lawrence Convention Center and being like, yes, my name is on the list. Here's who I am. But yeah, like I think it's really important to another seminar I did was Chris Hero was talking about like how one of the questions was how important is it to go to outside other places, and he's like, guys, wrestling is so different outside of your home state. It's even different outside of your home city. Like the difference between Pittsburgh wrestling and Philly wrestling is insane. And so it's really important to go out there and travel like not just to go and experience all of the different types of styles, but also like to go network. And network is not just like, you know, from a professional stance, but like you meet someone, and that someone can get you in contact with a place that you want to go work. That's one of your dream promotions, you know, and it just like, it's all kismet, but it really just works out well in that way of like, you have no idea how impactful driving 5 hours to Indianapolis will be. But that's how it was for me, like last October by going to Nap. Like,
well, speaking of people that you've been an influence on, according to the chat room, here's the blush portion of the show. True Prince Pro Matt is you're one of the hardest working refs in the business. Really, I'm so proud of you for how quickly you've taken to the business, learned the craft, branched out there, and now working with so many promotions. Jason from Neo Pros in the chat room.
what up, Jason? How's it going?
We happen to be chatting about. I apparently put their shows in the wrong order, so I'm going to fix that later.
Okay.
Rosie's always a pleasure to have Neo Pro Wrestling. Such a great person to have in both the locker room and the ring. Yes, it's definitely a great positive influence, and that's lacking a lot of times in promotions.
No, thanks, guys.
In the backstage, you know, because you know you've been backstage. You know how that is.
I do.
Riz, you know how that is. Yeah, Riz is usually the problem, especially when he's on mute. And
Every time.
There
Every
you go.
time.
Every time. Every time.
Riz has no Riz. Sorry.
Riz.
I riz myself.
Oh.
But yeah, yeah, like it's always my fault, so it's fine.
Absolutely. So awesome. So excellent. And so what you know, getting into this, I always like to ask, like, what's the biggest kind of surprise getting into the business? Because you went from 0 to 60 in like just a couple of years, it seems.
Yeah,
here,
literally,
from like not even watching wrestling to now, you know, working with some of the top promotions in the country.
Yeah. What's the most surprising thing that I have learned about getting into the wrestling business? That whole idea of like, oh, I saw this incredible TikTok like 2 days ago where it's like an indie wrestler, and he made a TikTok talking about how like this fan thinks I do this for a full-time job. Little does he know that I got paid $20 in a sweaty locker room with no mirrors and no water and like all of this type of stuff. And yeah, initially that kind of like, oh, this is like really gritty and grungy. Like,
oh, this is what this is.
This is what this
Yeah.
like. This is what we doing. Okay.
Mhm.
That's the initial one, but that kind of fades.
Mhm.
Honestly, I think it's what continuously surprises me is like the hustle that people, very successful people, by the way, have, and the amount of drive that you need to have in order to be successful, or at least put yourself out there. I can't put over Speedball Mike Bailey enough. Like he is so busy all of the time, and is the kindest individual you will ever meet anywhere you go, regardless of what's going on. I remember, the collective at Philly was Clusterfuck. It was the last show, the last day, and we were helping out with him right before the show started, and he was covered in bruises, incredibly tired, limping on one leg, but was still smiling at everyone, still giving hugs out, and then wrestled twice in that match in the Clusterfuck, not only as the chicken, but also as Speedball Mike Bailey himself. Like, just the amount of drive and the amount of persistence that these people have is incredible and astounding. Like, and it just continuously, it's a continuous realization.
Yeah. No, both Mike and Veda are like, they're like that again, that positive energy. Yeah. Like no matter where you're working, it's like, oh, Veda's on the show, everything's gonna be okay. Thing.
Dude, that's so real. They're just incredible, and they're so kind.
Absolutely. So awesome. Well, again, we're going to see you in a bunch of places, on the network, off the network, on Triller to Fight TV, wherever the hell else you're going to end up here. Real quick, obviously, you're involved with AIW, Neo Pro, Enjoy Wrestling here in town.
Yeah.
Where else do you tend to pop up?
Wherever I can get booked. No.
First question.
First question.
Hashtag book Rozie.
Please. Love you. Thank you very much. I'm going back up to Canada at Destiny Pro Wrestling in Oshawa. Shout out Emilio, super sick. Where else am I going? Where else am I booked? Oh my God, guys. So this upcoming Saturday, I will be in Indianapolis at a charity show for muscular dystrophy and pediatric diabetes. It's called Every Child Wins, but it's also ECW. Get it? Haha.
Nice.
So they're having like Francine and Shane Douglas and Fonzie. I love Fonzie. It's just a whole bunch of good wrestling happening in Indianapolis. Oh my God. Should I go by state? Should I go by? Trying to make my way back to Naptown All Pro. Love all the guys out there. Really good mission. Everything happening.
Tina in Seattle, while you're thinking about that, said, "Are there any new territories you want to travel to, like a bucket list?"
Oh my God, hell yeah! So many.
And she wants to know. She probably reading between the lines is one of them. Defy.
Dude, you don't understand. Defy is such a dream goal of mine.
It is so fun.
I'm getting too excited. My words aren't coming out correctly. Just because, like, I think in like the 2016, 2017s, and even like building into AEW, like that's and still now that's like one of the places to be for indie wrestling. It's always been about Defy. I love Defy. One of the clips that like made me want to start being a ref because of Aubrey was there's a bump that she takes from Penta and Phoenix, where she basically like they break up a 2 count by like kicking her in the head, and the crowd goes berserk, and I was like sick. But that happened at Defy. Yes, I can't put over Defy enough. New territories. I want to go to Texas. I had like my first indie show was at Texas. And like there are so many good wrestlers that are coming out of Texas. I feel like the US in particular is set up in little bubbles where it's like Pittsburgh and Ohio, or like Philly, New Jersey, New York City, Texas, Florida, Georgia, SoCal, dude, NorCal a little bit. You can SoCal tied in with Las Vegas. Like I kind of want to branch out. So far, I've been driving places, but I travel a lot for my work, so I do have a lot of airline miles saved up.
There you go.
So
that's helpful.
I would really like to go to.
That's the pitch.
Places.
That's the pitch, promoters.
Hey guys.
And we're like, hey friends in Defy. I mean, it's a nonstop. I mean, you know.
Please, yeah. Even like I'm in midpoint. I feel like in my career where like I want to just go out and like help at places just to get to feel for the environment. But then like if I could also work at the Be Super City. I've only put over Defy in this interview. I've been talking with Steven from C4. Would love to go up to C4 there. I always love going back to New York City because they have a whole bunch of secret shows there that are a combination of burlesque and pro wrestling in one night.
I love seeing those popping up.
What is it? People have told me that working for Hood Slam is absolutely incredible, and anytime that
I've heard good things too. Yeah.
And Dark Chic at GCW, she seems awesome. Oh my God. Wrestle Prestige. They put on crazy cards.
Yes.
Incredible.
So let's get Rozie out there.
Guys, please.
There you go. This is the wish list out there. We'll get this out. We'll tag some companies. Well, thank you so much. You were on all the social medias, it seems. Yes. Where can people find you?
Yeah, so I am on Twitter. We're not calling it X. I don't care. All of the social media platforms except for Facebook is ROZIETHEREF. Rozie with a Z. The Ref, and then on Facebook it is Rozie Jones.
I always remember because looking at a lot of the old studio wrestling, I keep thinking of Ringside Rozie.
Oh, that's nice. Well, actually, okay, maybe I could explain why my name is the way that it is. So I was on a high school robotics team here in Pittsburgh that is all girls, and it's I made the mic. I'm sorry, but it is so it's all-girls robotics, and people don't know that the logo or design of Rozie the Riveter is from Westinghouse here in Pittsburgh. So it was Rozie the Riveter, but with a robotic arm. Right. So that's where Rozie came from, and then the Z is because I'm a member of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, Z Phi. And then Jones comes from my first manager and my first job. Her name was Kathleen Jones, and she was one of those women who worked in telecom for 10, 15, 20-something years and could make men cry. And I also want to emulate that in some portions of my life. But that's where it comes from, and it's
perfect for the wrestling business.
Yeah, and then I just kind of wanted like a little bit of a more feminine name, a little bit like pin-up-y kind of 1950s, 60s vibe to it. So.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. It's great getting to know you here on the show. And we're definitely going to have you back here for an update here in the future. And like I said, we might just have to do a doubleheader with the awesome cast, knowing your background.
Hell yeah.
Because we just talk geeky stuff all
cool.
night. So
super sick.
Awesome. Hey, we're going to take a quick break here, and we'll be back, and we're going to find out what the Soul Taker's doing on Detroit television.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. And we'll find out what we learned from everybody here after this.
And weighing 118 kilograms,
Michael Enrico.
weighing 185 pounds.
In the past couple months with 2 big wins, shoulder tackles. That confidence, sort of different than arrogance, so to speak, and look like using momentum to its advantage. Look at Amanda Maslow trying to get the eyes on Amanda. Wait, quick dive there by Curtis Ray. Got it. You would never do that.
Never. There she is.
Again, behind the officials, barely rubbing off on Gianni. Ooh, and now
Nice, he just holding.
it just shows the strength. Competitors. Running knee strike right to the top. Now gonna dive off front splash, hits it. Down, maybe thinking they're running knee again. But boot right, lateral press cover.
Amanda, I saw everything. All I saw was 1, 2, 3 shoulders on a mat. Your winner, Gianni Michael Enrico.
I think Curtis might have had one of his shoulders up. I don't know what Josh Mann was seeing there.
Approaching the ring, the challenger, TT.
Newly created RWA Women's Championship. Again, this for free.
Whoa.
Oh, rolls her up. It's on the line tonight. I kind of don't blame her. And now TT, wow. 1, 2, starting things off a little bit.
She's got a 2,000-day title reign. She's got a
TT. I mean, Tony, you 1,000 days.
2,142.
Oh, God. OVW. And wow. And wow. The surfing bird, as she likes to call this, and there she goes. She comes, big shoulder block.
Reversal.
I'm just letting the ref handle it. Oh, she stacked her.
What?
She has captured the RWA Women's Championship. The competing sunset flip.
Whoa.
Jessie Bell is furious. TT has done it. TT now has the gold. Your new RWA Women's Champion.
And weighing 118 kilograms,
Michael Enrico.
weighing 185 pounds.
In the past couple months with 2 big wins. Shoulder tackled. That confidence, sort of different than arrogance, so to speak, and look like using momentum to its advantage. Look at Amanda Maslow trying to get eyes on Amanda. Wait, quick dive there by Curtis Ray. Got it. You would never do that.
Never. There she is.
Again, behind the official.
Wrestling Mayhem Show. We are here. The Riz is still here.
Hi, I'm here.
He's unmuted.
I think I just saw myself on the replay.
You probably just did, yes. And Rosie the ref,
Hey.
also still here. And we are going to we're gonna have some fun here for last part of the show here, because you know I've talked about Detroit wrestling, right, and how very interesting it is. And we've seen some Detroit people. 880, Detroit crew comes down here, right? And then over the last year, so we've been getting familiar with them here in the Pittsburgh area a little bit. And we were talking about how the bubbles and the regional and just Detroit has this whole different vibe, right?
So I've been told.
So it is
Shout
something.
out Clash Wrestling. They're one of the good ones.
There you go. I'm not saying anything's good or bad. I'm just gonna say different. Okay. I was just introduced to Combat One, fantastic promotion there. We're doing a Monday show with Violent J next month.
That's cool.
I kind of got not roped in, but it was like, hey, listen, in the last year, I've done a show with Billy Corgan backstage, and now Violent J. I think wrestling's treated me pretty well. I wish I could tell 16-year-old me this is going to happen.
They'd freak out.
So, there's a lot of stuff that I'm sure. But anyway, so I don't know if I got this set up right. We'll find out in a moment. But you know what's always interesting? We've seen them. Eddie Kingston did this. MJF, wrestlers on the news promoting things. Our friend, the mayor of Pittsburgh, John McChesney, is always on the news up there to promote the promotions going on and all that kind of stuff. So I was really curious when I saw. Oh, I'm not gonna get this audio to work, am I? It's not kicking in. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can get this reset here. Live podcasting, ladies and gentlemen.
Do you want me to do?
But let me try one more time to see if this thing will work. Oh, it's muted on the browser. That's why. Here we are. So,
you did the thing.
I did the wrist thing. So here's the news, Detroit, Fox local affiliate up there, and there's the Soul Taker promoting the Canterbury Village Taco Fest.
About the weather, because look around you, it's going to rain. The Soul Taker, the demon of fear. I control the weather. I control the pace. I am the Pro Wrestling All-Stars.
This is amazing.
4-time heavyweight champion. And there's nowhere to run, Ingrid.
Charlie, are you going to let him talk to you?
Nowhere to hide,
You're going to let him talk to you like that, Charlie?
No.
I'm not afraid of this guy.
So
From last year, he was
I really hope this makes John Oliver next week, by the way.
His way out of a paper bag. I'll put my money on
He gets into the ring. The guy is still ranting.
I don't believe it. My money's on the other guy. 2-1.
There's a karate guy in the ring. Who's trying to chop the Soul Taker if you're on the audio version of this. Theater of the Mind.
Oh my goodness, this is just some of the entertainment.
They're actually doing a mini match and choke slam.
Oh my goodness.
That was not a clean landing.
That, Charlie?
No,
See, while you're in the studio,
I'm ready for you.
stuffing your face with
Soul Taker definitely does not have an earpiece.
Nope.
All talk,
He's,
no action.
he's going
all
where?
this.
To his news truck?
It's terrible.
gonna come
Doesn't
up
mean
here?
anything.
What about those producers in the back?
You need a haircut, by the way. You need a haircut.
Retired.
Your hair's too long.
You
Gotta get in your
a
eyes.
few years ago. I retired Monica Gale. I
You
retired
beat up Monica Gale.
Sherry I retired.
I like how they
everybody
know.
there.
Yeah, I like how
He
he's
knows the entire.
listing
He
off
watches
the
this
card.
news channel. There's somebody in the control room throwing punches.
The Weather Boys.
The weather.
Weather
On Long
Boys.
Street. Derek Kevra. We can do me versus Charlie versus the Weather Boys.
Challenge.
That's right. I'm here and I'm going to be defending my championship tonight live at Canterbury Village at the inaugural Taco Fest. So what do you got to say, Miss Kelly?
I think
Because
it's
I
time
will
to
fight
go.
anybody.
I think it's time to go. Back to you guys in the studio.
God bless her for selling this shit, though.
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
So
She,
How long is it
she's
gonna
trying
last?
so hard.
I know. I
He's
know.
just
That's it.
laughing
All
at this
talk.
at this
All
guy.
talk.
He's talking.
I
the
can eat 5
entire
or 6
time.
tacos and then go and fight this guy and win.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
God, I love wrestling.
At least
Sork, what
he
did you
didn't
just
ask
make
them
me
to do the
watch?
other one.
What is happening? Okay, honestly though, so what is it at the last AIW show they have one on Saturday? So they got Nathan Zagura, who's a huge Cleveland Browns, like I think he's play-by-play commentator
Okay.
or something like that.
Okay.
And they had, it was like a feud between members only and Nathan Zagura, right? Well, in comes to the ring as a surprise if Jeff Jarrett with a guitar,
Mm-hmm.
and they hold Nathan Zagura down and hit him over the head with the guitar, and he got a neck brace on the Cleveland Browns morning show. So like we laugh, but like this happens all the time.
There's a guy from the Detroit Red Wings at the Combat One shows.
Oh my God, yeah.
You've seen this? Like they're talking about and they're talking this guy up, and I got Harkamp Frio. I'm like, if you're bringing me up, you're gonna hire Frio because
No, for
I
real,
trust
'cause
him,
he's
right?
really good at what he
yeah,
does.
he's really fucking good, and I want him to get like more jobs where he actually gets paid.
Yeah.
So, and if you haven't Harkamp Frio, look him up on YouTube. So I mentioned him because he had some footage from the JCW show from Saturday, and they're like, oh hey, good on him for getting the hard cam. I love the hard cam guy has his own TikTok. I'm like, no. That's just his username.
Yeah,
He's just a dude with a phone.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he
but-
filmed the first match that I ever got kicked in the face with.
Oh yeah.
And he was really sick. Hey, shout out Frio, dude. He got
He's
we got the
awesome,
footage.
right?
He's really
man, I
great.
gotta get him on the show. Why am I never booked for you? Anyway, so like and I'm just like, what the hell is this guy's deal? Because he doesn't look like a wrestler. You're just like, oh, that's a guy from the Red Wings. I'm like, what the fucking Red Wing? Like the NHL
The
team?
NHL team?
What?
Right.
So I'm like, what are we doing? What is this show? I got roped into it. I keep saying roped in, but I got asked to do it, and I just had no idea what this promotion was. And then it was like, oh, Matt Riddle's one of your champs, and he's writing Simon Gotch, and Alex Shelley is here, and Chavo Guerrero is random here, and you flew one guy in from LA to come out and play a ukulele for a spot, in a battle royal. I'm like, what is happening with this promotion?
Super sick.
And they're booked on Mondays and Thursdays. Referee George, of course, is up there, and he's just like, yeah, they'll book Mondays and weird days of the week, and they'll still draw 400 people. I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Like, what mad science is this? And they're on like IWTV and stuff. I'm like, okay, man, yeah, let's go. Let's see what happens here. And now you get to do a show of Violent J of all things. So it's again Detroit. So I do a lot of work, and I've talked about it on the show. I have a lot of client work I do in Michigan, and so I would just randomly go to wrestling promotions, and Detroit is still one of the wildest things ever.
Yes.
I was literally talking to the Soul Taker one time. I saw him twice that weekend. Had no idea he was on either show, and it was the one where we were in. I don't know, the first show I saw him on. He didn't know he was announced. I think it was Detroit All Stars, and the ring was in the back of a fun zone building between an overgrown mini golf and a golf cart track. that was active.
Sick.
I was like, this is the best thing ever.
Yeah.
It rained that day too. He has a problem with rain. But then like I saw him at another show, and a mutual friend of ours was like, hey, I love that guy, name dropped me. So I'm like, hey, you apparently know so-and-so. And he came over and talked to me again. And then I look up, and some dude's arm is on fire coming off the top rope. I was like, okay, and apparently this guy does it all the time. So it is wild, absolutely wild. Not even counting the JCW Juggalo Championship Wrestling stuff. So, and then it's Detroit is so many light tubes.
Yes.
So much stuff like that. You don't know if you're going to a show that has that half the time. The show I did at Harpo's was like 4 regular matches with guys like Alex Shelley, and then like a hardcore deathmatch battle royal and all this other shit for like another 3 hours because you have to set up between every match. And I'm like, what the fuck is this madness, right?
Right.
It's just so nuts. It's its own thing. I don't think anything else is like it around the States. So if I always say like, I always put over the Gathering of the Juggalos. I was like, do you just need to see some fucked up shit for 4 days? Go to the Gathering one year, right? Sometimes you just need that release. You want to see some fucked up shit? Go to Detroit Wrestling. Like really, and I love them for it. I'm saying that with endearment because I love fucked up shit. Okay, sometimes. But anyways. That's my pitch for Detroit Wrestling in general. I'll see you in a couple weeks. Detroit for Combat 1. Anyways, this show is fueled by our friends at Slice on Broadway, New York City style. Yins are made. Beachview, Carnegie, East End, North Hills. You could have got it down in the South Side Works during Taco Mania too, if you got tired of all the tacos all day while you're waiting for your wrestling with the
Pizza's kind of a taco.
Pizza gets its own taco.
I fold it like a taco.
There you go.
So
See?
I do.
Taco is a state of mind.
Pizza is a taco.
Wow.
Cereal is soup.
And a hot dog is a sandwich.
Yes.
That's right.
Those are some hot takes. Might be hotter than the Damian Priest title run mid. That's
there you go.
Fighting words. I don't know, guys.
Well, you can bring your hot takes with the hot pizza over at Slice on Broadway. The original supporting Pittsburgh podcasting with the perfect pepperoni pizza for well over a decade. The original location right up the street from this studio here in Beachview. Go check them out. The phenomenon that is Slice on Broadway. Thank you everybody that's been supporting the show. It is time to find out, what did you learn from wrestling this week? Chat room, hit us up if you're checking this show out later on the YouTubes or streaming or podcast place. Hashtag WMS915 on your social media. Let us know, what did you learn from wrestling this week? Who would like to go first? Riz has his mouth open like he wants to speak.
I'm debating.
Okay.
So
you can have 2 things. It's okay.
No, you said one thing. But I think
you're the Riz. I'll give you one thing for each Z in your name.
I'll go with this. So, all jokes aside, Chad Gable is the best right now. The best wrestler going in WWE, and he needs to be. He needs to go far, like far. I want him to win the briefcase. Probably not going to, but I want him to win it. That's what I learned.
I like it. It's
pretty good.
Rosie, what have you learned?
I had once again a crazier weekend. That I could summarize. So Friday I was at Enjoy for Tattoo Mania. Saturday I was in Salem for Neopro, and then Sunday I was in Detroit for Clash. Okay, so no, that's not true. I was gonna ask for 2 things that I learned from wrestling, because I was like, oh, there are 2 Z's in my name. So no, there's not.
You can have one of mine, Rosie.
Oh, word. Yes. Thank you very much, Riz. So one is that thing that I learned is that wrestling companies should not hold shows on days in which it is a full moon. Please don't. It's a superstition thing. We had 2 different medical incidences at a particular show, in which one guy broke his arm and then passed out, and then the other You know when the Cody headshot where he got lipped with the side of the chair?
Yeah.
So he got lipped with the side of the chair in his chin and had 13 stitches. So that's a separate guy. Right.
No.
So please don't hold wrestling shows on a full moon. I understand it's superstitious and I understand it's like pagan weird stuff, but like, guys, please. If we can't say the words car trouble about wrestling, like we should also add an idea of a full moon to wrestling as well. That's one. My second one, I learned about at Clash, which is like if you are a good person with genuine intentions and hardworking tenacity to you, people will see that and will recognize that. And that's just like a really incredible and grateful feeling that's just like a realization that I had and that was affirmed by like conversations that I had to people. I'm taking a deep approach to this question, guys. Sorry.
Oh, that's fine.
You're good.
Yeah, like I've been in like a season of like perspective and in a season of persistence right now with wrestling, and I think that I'm finally starting to see like meeting really good people who we equally want the best for each other, what I can provide as a ref and what promotions can provide as a product. Like we're meeting in a middle ground. Yeah, I'm just really grateful to like be able to find like inner peace and self-confidence in this really weird and wacky art form that we're all a part of. So yeah, I think that's what I've learned.
Wow, you're finding yourself grounded around professional wrestling.
It's hard to do,
it
dude.
Is hard.
It's so hard.
I gotta tell you, that's one thing. This is not what I learned, but what I've learned over the years is if you, is to find those and hold on to those, right? Hold on to those positive situations. Like, I always talk about, like, I started doing, like, Warrior Wrestling a few years ago. I was like, oh, God, this is what a locker room can be like, and then you see that with, I feel like there's a lot of good vibes when we're down there at 880, and I've been part of some really terrible locker rooms over the years, too. And so, unfortunately, you kind of need to, some people need to see it to know, oh, it doesn't need to be this way.
Yeah.
But also some people, it's like a real abusive relationship with a promotion. It's like, where else am I going to go? It's rough.
When you separate that, like when you get away from that idea of no one else is going to book me and you set yourself free from that idea, it takes some time, but you do eventually, you go out and you find those good people and those good places. And when that happens, that experience is so validating.
Absolutely.
It takes time, it takes tenacity, it takes persistence, but it's definitely worth it.
So many, you always have to read this because, I see, a lot of promotions like, oh, we want to build something with you. You're our guy. I've heard that a couple times. So, but it's like, it is nice when you're like, okay, this is worth sticking around for.
Exactly.
Right? Okay, maybe we are going towards something. And sometimes that just stops, because that's wrestling. Sometimes the business just doesn't work anymore and that company just can't do the thing anymore, right? So it's really interesting with that. For the chat room, and then I'll get to what I learned here.
Cool.
Sue, from the chat room, Dave Potter. Okay, since I've been having issues, I've learned from Faye Jackson that the squirt is good for thirst.
No comment.
Nope.
Is this again? Is this again in Jones reference?
I don't think so. I think it's something.
Is that
it's a Faye Jackson reference.
Is it, okay. I'll leave that where it's at. We had Faye Jackson on commentary a couple months ago at O'Shea. That was a lot of fun. That was. Oh, was she on the show you did too? Yeah. Okay. All right. That is. I've never worked with Faye before, and that was a lot of fun. And the lead announcer there, Chad, I think his name is he does like local sports, like he covers like college basketball in like Charlotte on TV.
So you're like a real play-by-play person.
We had this like super professional guy, and then Faye is just like being Faye and being amazing. So I just lost the chat room. Give me 1 second to get back here. I think Ponder had another one. Also, I learned that there are seemingly unlimited number of people to add to the new bloodline. Yo, the Tongans and Samoans go deep.
Someone sent me the family tree, and I was like,
take a look.
Oh, like they're they're literally all related.
Yeah, we didn't know when The Rock showed that in his PowerPoint presentation of the family tree.
Ta-da.
He was like, "Hey, this is the storyline for the next 3 years of WWE."
Yep.
Or what's that? It's the meme from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia where he's like, like that's
yeah, exactly.
That's what it is.
Tina says, joking, what I learned from the Midwest has a chokehold on the Big Four on the WWE. Yeah, we got Cleveland for SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Indianapolis is getting
Oh my
all
God.
3 stadium shows in the near future, starting with Rumble this next year.
We're so blessed. I was talking with my friend Tess, who runs Mohawk Mosher, basically women's wrestling watch of Northeast Ohio. And we were talking, and we were like, we are so blessed by the wrestling gods. Everything that is happening for a pay-per-view is within an easy amount of driving distance. Like, blessed. Thank you.
I thought it was great going to Detroit last year on a whim, and it's like, okay, let's go to that. What I learned this weekend, I learned I'm kind of learning the tenacity of what I'm going to call new promoters. This weekend I spent time both at Exodus Pro, NWA Exodus Pro, and APWF, of course, Bubba's promotion. And not that Bubba's, it's a rebirth of a promotion, but he was not. I don't think he was the sole promoter when it came up, and it's been about a decade. And I had an interesting conversation about how much things have changed. I think he said here on the show or the Patreon last week about, like, if I had Facebook when I was doing this in the 2000s, it would have been so different. Things like that, right? Getting used to things like that. So I'm really appreciating the guts it takes for somebody to run a promotion, the patience that these guys have having, and I will call out both. Well, I guess 3 people, Bubba, and also Gary and EC3 himself with Exodus. Because I know, no show runs perfect, for one thing. There's always something, okay, this is wrong this time. Oh, we have a sound problem this time. We got a lighting problem this time. There's always something with it. We're attempting to improve and work with them on what exactly they want to do for this product. Things like that. And I'm appreciating those that are, I always like to say that the people we work with are partners. We're not just you're hiring us to do your video, and it's like, no, we are going to work together to make this thing work.
Right.
I think is a very important thing. I'm not just a hired gun. There's some shows where I'm just a hired gun on. I'm like, I'm going to show up cameras and we're going to do whatever we do. And sometimes you're in that, and it's like, okay, it's whatever it is. But no, I appreciate between obviously the ones we work with locally. But then, guys like that, when we were working with Warrior at the time, and when we were helping out with New Japan to help that product out a little bit, so in our small way. I just have an appreciation for that, for those that do have the patience with that. Like, hey, production will not always be perfect. Watch WWE the last couple of months. They're doing a lot of cool stuff, but there have been some really interesting fuck-ups too. So shit happens in production, and it's not the end of the world. And learning that and conveying that is really important. So
I mean, you saw that last night with Braun going through the middle rope.
Okay, dude, it's not perfect for the wrestlers. Shit happens there too. Did you see that? Like he hit the ropes and like the top rope kind of snapped back and he fell into
I didn't see it.
Yeah, it was like one of those scary
we were watching the end of the Stanley Cup final and then also switching back and forth between NCAA baseball and that because it was happening at the same time. And then Raw.
A lot of sports happening in your house.
Yeah, so
I get it.
No, we're definitely and it was an SEC showdown in NCAA baseball, and that's like my mom's from Louisiana, so LSU. So anyway, but I didn't get a chance to catch Raw. I caught up a little bit later, but I did not see that.
I got to do work on their campus one time. Yeah, at a Baja event down there in the shadow of that football stadium. It's really cool. I got Baja cars coming over doing over the hop and with the arena the stadium in the background.
Sick.
Yeah, it was really cool. I was just like, this is the most urban Baja event I had ever done. My hotel was down by the Kentucky Derby.
Sick.
So that was like, so this is, got to see an OVW show. It was a great freaking week. We ate at a Waffle House with Facade in Danny. It was a really cool week actually.
Yeah.
So, anyways, so Awesome. Rozie, it's been great to have you on the show. Please hang out for the Patreon. I don't know what we're going to get into. I know our the Mad One will probably join us if he's not already out there in the chat.
Not here.
He's not there yet. Ooh, man, the baby must got him. So we'll see what happens there. Again, Ref Rozie Jones? Rozie the Ref.
Rozie
with the
spelled
Z.
with a Z.
That's right.
And then on Facebook, I am Rozie Jones.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Go check that out. Follow wherever she's going to be at a show near you. Riz plays games, allegedly.
I might play games.
You did last week.
Games soon.
That's right.
There's a nice little game that's just like AI generated.
What?
Nonsense.
Okay.
That I kind of want to play.
Okay.
It's actually called Facade.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
We got to
shout
get
out.
Facade to play Facade.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yes. He would probably.
I got a green.
Yeah.
I got a.
Go ninja,
I got
go
a.
ninja, go.
I got a neon. Whenever he's playing games with us, sometimes we'll do some AEW spots before the shows, and I have a neon green controller. I make sure that he has. I was like, I'm going to make you feel at home here.
Yeah.
In my house, in my studio, but yes, at Sorgatron, I will be. What am I doing? We got a 4-day stand, not of wrestling shows, but productions. Again, 2 nights with 880 Wrestling, Thursday night fights, and then again Friday night for the Bar Exam 2. I guess 880 Wrestling, and then also Sunday with VCW's show, and that's going to be a lot of fun. Again, Hardcore 69. Of Shadow WX and Madman Pondo will be there. My age JCW heart is excited about that, to see Pondo again. And Saturday I will be doing a very non-wrestling thing. I will be hanging out at Boom on the Bridge up in Beaver County.
Cool.
Doing some media work up there. So if you're in Beaver County hanging out, I'll be around with the camera and probably a media badge or something. So that'll be a lot of fun. And shout out to my friend Kid Mental that hooked us up with that. Well, nice little non-wrestling day this week. So because I think I'm doing nothing but wrestling for July. So at this point for events, but it'll be a lot of fun. Thank you so much, everybody. We'll see you guys next week.
You've been our awesome audience.
No. We're not doing that. The Mayhem out.
Just wait. Just wait. Just wait. Just wait. Wait for the perfect time, then attack. Don't give up what you want, take it back. Wait for the perfect time, then attack. Do what you
This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at sorgatronmedia.com.